What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into a live Cleveland Browns report this Thursday afternoon on June 29th. Right on the eve of NBA free agency, we got some news popping in the sports world with James Harden opting in only to get traded. So we got some fun NBA juice out there. But we're going to recap all things Cleveland Browns for you guys on today's show. Some updates on the DeAndre Hopkins front as it appears it might be a two-horse race. Well, I'm not quite sure about that, but I do know that the New England Patriots have been making some moves, and I don't know if those moves necessarily help or hurt the opportunity for Hopkins to come up to New England, and in result, maybe that helps the Browns get DeAndre Hopkins. So we're going to break down all of that, plus I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to rip Mike Florio a new one, so we're going to look at that. And then we wrap up with a live Q&A, a mailbag, taking questions from all of you guys at home. Now, speaking of everyone at home, while we let the audience build up, as always, a staple of the show, shout out your city. Let me know where you are tuning in from today. It's one of my favorite parts of doing a live Browns report because it's always a good, reminder to see how big the dog pound is, right? It goes from coast to coast. But also it's a nice opportunity to get to know you guys a little bit better and be more than just commenters down in the comment section. So let me know where you are watching from. We have some usual suspects in the chat. Cassie is here tuning in from Dallas. Thank you, Cassie. Sean's up in Michigan. Jersey Dog is enjoying a nice vacation in Orlando, Florida. I wonder if Andrew Barry is there with his family and he's like, this is hell on earth in June, almost July. Let's just stir the pot a little bit and get some Hopkins buzz going so I can fake phone calls and get out of the teacups line. So maybe you'll see him down there, Jersey Dog. Ty Man the Buckeye, always in the Buckeye State. We've got Cleveland in the house. Levi's tuning in from Rock Creek, Ohio. We've got South Korea from my friend Richard. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Shout out your city in the comment section right now. Chat Sports is headquarters here in Dallas, Texas. So producer Nick Roloff and I are braving out the heat right now. It's like over 100 degrees for a couple straight days. Rolly went to the pool over the weekend, and he was that guy. He was the guy that said, I don't get sunburn. I don't need sunscreen. I've never been sunburned before. What's that one Ben Stiller movie where he marries someone and he finds out, like, really quickly that she is not the one for him? And she also said, like, I just put water on. I don't get sunscreen that way. Rolly, do you care to comment on these allegations?
Yeah, I'll say this, Petey, and listen, I made a mistake, yes. Didn't put on sunscreen, but I thought I was fine. I'm not used to the Texas heat. But I will say this, the Texas heat has nothing on me anymore because I've been wearing sweatshirts all week long. It's been 105 degrees, and I'm still living fine. So it may be hot, but I can survive the 105.
I was driving to work on Tuesday, and I drove past Rolly. He's wearing a sweatshirt. It's 105 degrees, so that's a little bit bizarre. But he's got to protect his lobster red skin, and he's holding his backpack like he is a businessman on Wall Street with his briefcase because it hurts too much to put on his shoulders. Okay, enough of that, though. North Carolina from Tim Miller. We got George over in Greece. What's going on, George? Thanks for tuning in. I'm sure it is like midnight, 1 a.m., something like that over there. Now, speaking of just, summertime and whatnot, we talk a lot of football here, but it's fun to get away from the X's and O's constantly. Rolly, impromptu draft right now. Patrick Seaman and I were patented for our drafts. Best place to have a beer. What's your 1-1 pick?
My 1-1?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just
Come
going to...
on screen.
I'm just going to go with the obvious here, right? Good old bar with the fellas.
The bar with the fellas.
Bar with the fellas.
I thought you were going to take the real 1-1. Beach?
No, that's not 1-1.
I don't like the beach, but I know that would be the most popular pick.
Not in my draft. Not in my draft. So that's
then,
my 1-1.
I'm going to go...
Snake.
Snake. I'm going to go beach/pool. Can I get beach/pool?
That's fair. That's fair.
Add baseball game.
Baseball game, that's a good one.
Elite time for a beer.
How about, you know what? Let's just make it easier and just say sporting event.
Okay, sporting event, that's fine.
Because I don't want to cheat and go like football game next,
but I don't think football games beers hit as... Football, I'm focusing. Like, I'm at work during a football game. Baseball game, it's vacation.
I do agree, but I just was going to give you sporting events. So, we got beach. This is tough. You know what? I wasn't prepared for this. I should have thought better. I'm going to go little...
Wooly had his first beer yesterday.
You're going to go with a concert.
Concert
beer.
Concert beers. Maybe a little country concert?
Yeah, you know what? You never know. Concert beers are always fun. All right, I got my third.
To round it out?
Yeah, we're going to road beers.
Road beers.
Passenger seat on a long road trip. Let's get fucked up.
Let's get bingo. And then I'll round out the draft. Let me pander to the audience. Oh, tailgate beer. Jersey dog. That wins a draft right there. Tailgate beers, those are a lot of fun. Let's see, what else are you guys saying here? Brewery on the couch. Couch beers are fun beers. Never anything wrong with the couch beer. Anywhere you aren't supposed to have one from Justin. I like that approach. Justin, this guy fucks. He lives on the wild side. Now, speaking of DeAndre Hopkins, where's he going to sign? It seems like there are 4 teams in on him. Tennessee Titans and New England Patriots. They had visits with DeAndre Hopkins. The Cleveland Browns have been lurking, as one NFL insider put it. And the Carolina Panthers are also lurking. Sal Palantonio, who I didn't know was in on the Hopkins sweepstakes. He's a Philly guy, but okay. Those appear to be the 4 teams. Now, maybe there's a wild card team, right? Maybe the Bills just kind of panic and go, this wide receiver room doesn't look like it's shaping up to be very stable. Stephon Diggs is a little bit grumpy right now. Let's go get DeAndre Hopkins to push us over the edge to take down the Chiefs and the Bengals and whatnot. So I would toss in the Bills as well. Rolly, do you have a prediction? I wonder if you come in with any bias at all.
No bias.
No bias.
No bias. He is, just clearly going to sign with the New England Patriots.
There it is, yeah. Rolly's Patriots going to end up signing DeAndre Hopkins. I just can't envision D-Hop signing with Bill O'Brien-led offense.
I know you bring up the butt chin.
The butt chin, look at it. How can anyone get past that in a meeting?
I get it.
Got him fired.
But
the owner was like, I got tired of looking at the butt chin and losing.
Cap space, fit.
Yeah.
Gets to be the number 1 wide receiver. Makes all the sense. Him and Belichick have all the respect in the world for each other. So, I don't know. Patriot.
I've got my team, and I'll save that for later on in the show. But let me know in the comment section where you guys think Hopkins will end up signing. As for Cleveland, I've always said he's a luxury. Like, I was listening to a sports podcast, and they talked about the Browns wide receiver room. And they made a really good point. The Browns wide receiver room. Can we pull up the depth chart really quickly, Rolly? Because when you look at this wide receiver room, sure, it doesn't have 4 Pro Bowlers, but it has the making of 2 wide receiver rooms. Like, you could have a wide receiver room of Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, David Bell, and Michael Woods. That's one team. You could also have another wide receiver room of Donovan Peoples-Jones, Marquise Goodwin, Cedric Tillman. That's another team. There are 2 teams worth of talent in this one wide receiver room. And those 2 separate teams would have pretty good wide receivers, right? Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore on their own team. No one's going to look at that and go, they're probably lacking a little bit. No, same goes for DPJ, Cedric Tillman, and Marquise Goodwin. Like, they might not have a superstar wide receiver, but those 3 guys would be better than the Tennessee Titans wide receiver room. Like, they wouldn't be the worst in the NFL, and that's just chopping this room in half. So they don't need Hopkins. They already have 2 NFL caliber wide receiver units in here. Hopkins is a luxury that I'm sure Deshaun Watson would love to have, but I don't know if we're going to look back in October and think, man, how different this season could have gone if they got DeAndre Hopkins. So I don't think the Browns are uberly interested, but maybe if Hopkins' price drops because he doesn't get the contract he was looking for from New England or Tennessee, he decides, take an extra $1 million or go actually compete for a Super Bowl with my good pal Deshaun Watson. Maybe that sways him from Nashville up to Cleveland. Mailbag coming up at the end of the show. So get those questions in, #Browns, or you can super chat if you like the free content we do here at Chat Sports and you want to go above and beyond to, thank producer Rolly and I for getting you guys as much content as possible. We definitely do not turn away from super chats. Always appreciated, but no pressure whatsoever. What I will pressure you to do is like the freaking video, because if you don't like the video, YouTube does not help us out here, and we are all about trying to pray to the almighty YouTube algorithm god. She is like an Aztec warrior. If we're doing a sacrifice, I'll make a sacrifice. Sorry, Tex. Like, that's going to happen, okay? But like the video, please. We got 64 people watching and just 14 likes. That's a big middle finger to me. Help me out. Hit that thumbs up button. Poor Tex on his day off. He just caught.
Tex just died on his off day.
Died on his off day.
What a poor way to go.
Right now. Yeah.
I mean, just if we get to 30 likes, I think Tex is never coming back to work.
Tomorrow it'll be like 10 a.m. and the bosses will be like, "Is Tex coming in today?" And I'm like, "Well, he died."
I did kind of sacrifice him to the YouTube algorithm.
He's an Aztec. He's an Aztec god now.
Petey, why did you sacrifice Tex to get like $1 million or something? I just really need to get to 30 likes.
30 likes. We're at 20. We'll start the show once we get to 30 likes. Here's what we have on tap for everyone today, though. The latest news and rumors, as always. We'll talk some DeAndre Hopkins and whatnot. Plus, I've got a bone to pick with a certain NFL national media personality, if you will. So we're going to slay that dragon. And then that mailbag at the end. #Browns. Get those questions in the chat right now. Or super chat. Go above and beyond and skip the line and guarantee a spot on screen. So we're closing in on 30 likes. Once you like the video, type me in the comment section. I'll give a shout out to everyone who does that. And then we will get this show on the road. It's a little bit of the slow part of the NFL offseason. So this is a good time to remind yourself, like, real fans are tuning in June 29th. The fakers come in during September and October. But the real fans, they ride or die 12 months a year, 365 days a year. So let's give some shout-outs here. Tim Green, Tillman could make everyone forget about DeAndre Hopkins. Cedric Tillman, I think, is going to have a productive rookie season. What that looks like for him on the Browns compared to other teams might be different, right? But I think he's going to make some key plays, and I think he's going to show and kind of, assure the front office that, hey, this future at the wide receiver room might not have Amari Cooper for the next 3 to 4 years, but with Cedric Tillman and Elijah Moore and maybe Donovan Peoples-Jones, that could be a very talented room moving forward. All right, we got Z.A. Takshi, something like that, typing me. I got Fat Gaming typing me. Ryan typed me with a thumbs up. Like the video. We are 8 likes away from 30, and then we will get this show on the road. Anthony Zeno is here. Anthony, have you liked the video? Because if not, what are you doing? It's like going over to your friend's house, as Marshall Green would say. Take your shoes off when you go over. It's rude not to. It's rude to come in the stream and not like the video. Anthony liked the video. So we are 4 likes away. Let's go. Watching every day. That's what I'm talking about. Anthony gets
Anthony, real one. Jersey Dog, real one.
That's what I'm talking about. Jersey Dog liked the video. 4 likes away. 74 people watching. We've got a fun show laid out for everyone. Hit that thumbs up button, and we will get this show on the road. Okay. Producer Rolly, we got the green light. Let's do this thing, ladies and gentlemen. 1 like away. Thank you, Chuck Norris. Great movie. I got to rewatch Dodgeball. Dodgeball is on my list of movies.
Honestly, one of the most repeatable movies of all time. I think it's a classic that never goes out of style.
Yeah, my friends and I in high school, we did Globo Gym as Halloween one year.
I mean, that's just a staple.
Couldn't beat it.
Honestly, we should
cram it up your cram hole, LaFleur.
I think we should next time I'm on Browns Live, we should do slight draft of Ben Stiller / Vince Vaughn movies.
Good idea.
Because they're just all classic comedies. No matter who did it, they're all awesome.
Yeah, Anthony, The Campaign is underrated. Welcome to the fucking show. The Campaign is an awesome movie. Okay, let's welcome to the show. Let's start the show. You ready, Rolly? Got the green light. We're a go for launch. We're going to talk DeAndre Hopkins and some more on today's show, but it's June. It's getting a bit dry waiting for the NFL season to get here, and I was just thinking about week 1. I was walking to work today thinking about curb stomping Joe Burrow and the Bengals week 1. I don't know if it'll be a curb stomping, But I think the Browns are going to show the national media week 1 that this is an AFC contender, and they can do that by taking down one of the AFC juggernauts week 1. And if you're with me, like the video to start the show. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about the latest on DeAndre Hopkins because it seems like the Browns are one of 5-ish teams really in the mix for him. They definitely are on the outside looking in, but if the Patriots are out on DeAndre Hopkins after some recent moves they were made, maybe the Browns stock is rising to get Hopkins. We're going to talk about that and more on the show. But let's start with this here from Ian Rappaport, who tweeted out, the Patriots and wide receiver Devontae Parker reached an agreement on a 3-year new contract worth up to $33 million. It was at that point every single member of Browns Twitter stopped reading, quote tweeted it, and said, Hopkins going to Cleveland now. The Patriots are out of the mix. I was guilty of it too. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't know if it's absolutely like that. Now, I also don't know why they extended Devontae Parker. I mean, this is not going to be a Patriots channel, but our producer today, Nick Roloff, is a Patriots fan. So I wanted him to see these numbers because anytime you get a guy with 31 grabs and 539 yards, how can you not extend him for 3 years? I don't really understand why New England did this. But one reason may be to open up some cap space to get DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Mike Florio, in a recent article about this, said, according to multiple reports, the Patriots will continue to pursue Hopkins after signing Parker. There likely is no negative consequences for New England extending Devontae Parker in terms of landing DeAndre Hopkins in the grand scheme of things, right? Parker's extension likely, I've not seen the details yet, but it likely lowers his 2023 cap hit. What they can do is, hey, we know you're going to be on this team. We extended you and whatnot. So we're going to move some of your base salary into a signing bonus, guaranteeing you more money, and as a result, lowers your cap hit, which also frees up cap space to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Now, however, if you want to be the Brown Tiger and refuse to accept this maybe helping New England getting Hopkins, one spin zone I could say is the extension could remove some wide receiver cap space in 2024. Like, let's say New England doesn't want to spend more than X on the wide receiver room in 2024. Well, now you have Parker on the books for that year, and if Hopkins only wants to sign a 2-year contract, maybe the Patriots don't have money in 2024. This is a bit of a reach, I will admit. But this could be your spin zone if you are a diehard get Hopkins to Cleveland stan and you are looking for a way to turn this from a negative into a positive. Now, where do you guys think he will end up signing? Will it be New England? Will it be Cleveland? Like, not where do you want him to sign, but if you had to make a prediction, gun to your head, where's he going? For me, I'm going to offer a bit of a curveball, and I kind of laughed at this initially, but I thought about it more, and the Panthers are starting to make some sense to land DeAndre Hopkins. They were evidently lurking on him, according to Sal Palantonio, and at first I was like, why would DeAndre Hopkins go to Carolina? Doesn't really make sense. He wants to win. You're not winning in Carolina. They're not going to win a lot of football games this year. But if one of the contending teams doesn't give him a competitive offer, maybe he looks at Carolina, right? And for the Panthers, I'm sure they'd love to have DeAndre Hopkins. He could help develop Bryce Young, really give Bryce Young a surefire blanket to throw to so he can stay on the field, right? On a 3rd and 9, just throw it up to Hopkins, move the chains, and live to see another down. Hopkins is from South Carolina, so this would be a sort of homecoming at the end of his career. The NFC South does not have a lot of teeth to it this year. You had 3 teams there win 7 games in 2022. So the NFC South could be a position where Hopkins goes, yeah, it's no contending team compared to the Browns or anything like that. But we could win the division and get a home playoff game, and anything can happen then. They also have a lot of cap space, $27.2 million to be exact. So Carolina could throw a lot of cash over D-Hop's way. So that is the latest on Hopkins. And there was a big, hullabaloo about, Parker extended. Not going, Hopkins out of New England? Probably not the case. If anything, maybe it helps. But I am here to say, DeAndre, I know you're watching, so come a little closer for a moment. You do not want to go back to Bill O'Brien. Come on. You could not stand another year of offensive meetings looking at that butt chin, thinking that's the guy who traded me away for David Johnson, who's out of the league now, and some day 3 picks or whatever. Don't do it. Do future you a favor, DeAndre. You'll have a lot more fun in Cleveland. Touchdowns, more than one way, no pun intended, at the airfield and at Cleveland Browns Stadium. So I would definitely suggest going to the Browns over the Patriots, but the Panthers could make some sense as well. Next up on the show, I want to talk about USA Today's breakout candidate for Cleveland. See who they selected for the Brownies, and we'll kind of break this down and whatnot. But before we do, I just want to give some shout-outs to those of you who have been subscribed, who have been frequent commenters here. Chris Reed, Jonathan Copley, he is the king of F-Pits. Pink Diamond, Akron Kid, thank you guys so much for subscribing. And hey, if you want to get a shout-out, if you want to be on screen, hit that sub button down below, and we'll make that happen. Now, Elijah Moore is the breakout candidate for USA Today, specifically the Browns Wire and Corey Kinnan. Moore, as we know, had a very strong offseason full of workouts and OTAs and minicamp, really developed a nice connection with Deshaun Watson, what is more or less glorified flag football, but you'd rather have a good connection than have a slow start to the offseason. And we are talking about a former top 35 pick, 34th overall by the Jets, someone I was super high on coming out of Ole Miss. So I'm excited to see the Elijah Moore breakout season this year. I'm also excited to see you guys getting your own Browns polo. Look at me and this handsome fella matching. You can get your own Cleveland Browns polo on sale too when you go to chatsports.com/Browns polo. I love these polos so much, I had to get one for myself. They were on sale, so I was losing money, as I like to say, if I did not get the polo. So get yours today. That link's in the comments and the description of today's video. You can get it with Brownie the Elf. You can get it in a variety of colors. A lot of great options. Now, here's what Corey Kinnan said about Elijah Moore as a breakout candidate. Moore has been quite involved throughout voluntary and mandatory minicamp as he builds rapport with new quarterback Deshaun Watson. Look for Moore to have a big year in 2023. Moore's coming off a bit of a down year, to say the least, last year. There's no sugarcoating it. Played in 16 games and only scored 1 touchdown, 446 yards. We know that there was a lot of frustration brewing between him and the coaching staff and his role on the team. So I didn't look at that as an attitude issue because he ended up more or less, being right. The Jets moved on from their offensive coordinator. They wanted to move on from him so badly, they decided, who's a better candidate? Nathaniel Hackett, the fraud from Denver who was the worst offensive coordinator last year or led the worst offense in football last year. But I want to look specifically at 2021 when he put up 538 yards in 11 games before an injury cut his season short. And if you take his 2021 stats and prorate them over a 17-game season, as a rookie, 7 touchdowns, 831 yards, this is the player the Cleveland Browns think they are getting, and they believe if he was able to do that with Zach Wilson in a horrible passing game, imagine the type of production we're going to get out of him with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. That is what Cleveland is betting on, and I like that bet. I also liked Elijah Moore coming out of Ole Miss. He was the guy that did the dog peeing celebration. I don't think many people connected those dots right there. But that's Elijah Moore. It made for an all-time Thanksgiving night. 1,100 yards in his last season in Oxford, 8 touchdowns, an explosive player. He averaged 13.9 yards a reception. Elijah Moore, I think, is going to end up as this team's wide receiver too, for a handful of reasons. But the big one is, what did Cleveland need in this wide receiver room going into the offseason? Bueller, speed. They get that in Elijah Moore. So that, plus Deshaun Watson, equals 6 points. I also wonder, with the future of Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones a little murky, with DPJ being a free agent in 2024, and Amari Cooper having a $23 million cap hit, I wonder if Kevin Stefanski and DePodesta and Andrew Berry are going to get together and go, hey, Elijah Moore is on this team in 2024. I can't guarantee the same for Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones. So, Kevin, could you maybe draw up some plays for Elijah Moore, force feed him the football. Because if we get priced out for Donovan Peoples-Jones and we have to move on from Cooper to save some money, well, we'd like to have a receiver emerge that had a big role in 2023, so we aren't starting at ground zero necessarily. So how about we force feed Elijah Moore the football a little bit? Just some food for thought right there. Now, who is your breakout candidate? I love the Elijah Moore selection. I think he's going to have a great season. He is someone that I will put my name next to and get old takes, cold takes exposed, or whatever it is if he does not live up to the billing. But I think Elijah Moore will have a great year. I also think that producer Roley is not going to get the card right. It is that time. Pick a card moment.
I'm going to nail it.
You're not going to get it. You're not going to get the suit right, and you're not going to be within 2 of the number. That's how far off you'll be.
Disrespectful.
It's loud.
Petey disrespected my New England Patriots earlier in this show. I didn't like that. And with revenge, I am going to absolutely nail this pick, and I'm going to tie it up 1-1.
Okay.
Producers versus Petey.
Uh-huh.
And with that being said, because DeAndre Hopkins is a stud and a New England Patriot, he is going to be wearing number 10. No, he won't be. He won't be because Mac Jones is number 10.
Uh-oh.
He'll be wearing number 6. And
Already trouble in paradise.
6 of diamonds.
6 of diamonds. I'm going to go with the King of Spades.
Go big or go home.
One last cut for good measure.
Go big or go home for Petey.
We weren't even close.
No?
2 of clubs.
I always get
Disgusting
2s.
number.
I always
I
get
hate
2s.
the 2s and the 3s. If you win on a 2 or 3, I know it counts, but it feels like a Mickey Mouse championship. That's going to do it for us on this edition of the Cleveland Browns Report. Thank you so much for tuning in, taking time out of your day to come hang out with us. Subscribe, like the video, notifications, all that good stuff, and we'll see you guys later. Holy.
Fucking 2. What the hell, man? The 2s suck, dude. The 2s suck.
We got cool guy called Zone. He got it last time, if you recall.
Yes, I do remember.
Ray, what did you say? Ray was super close. Ray said, I didn't see it. 2 of diamonds. Oh, that is close. Would you rather be off by a suit or by a number, right? If it was the 2 of clubs or say the 5 of clubs, would you rather say the 5 of hearts or the 6 of clubs? I think I'd rather be in the same number family, but the wrong suit. Okay. Let's see. We've got Denzel Ward going to return to his Pro Bowl form. Cleveland has a plethora. I mean, I know that we ride, I'm trying not to be too grotesque here on the show, but we definitely do our fair share of more or less deep-throating the Browns. But listen, Martin Emerson, Greg Newsome, and Denzel Ward are all starting cornerbacks. Like, undoubted CB1s. I know that's a little early for Martin Emerson, just for 1 season, but he looked like the best quarterback on the team last year. We know what Denzel Ward can do. And Greg Newsome has kind of just been in the shadows, but, he hasn't been a liability by any means. So there is a good reason to believe that the quarterback room on this team might be the strongest room altogether. And that's saying a lot because there have been a lot of great additions to this roster. Like, the quarterback room is loaded. Josh Dobbs, Deshaun Watson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I like that quarterback room a lot. The offensive line, for crying out loud. You got all-pro talent all over. Joel Petonio, Jack Conklin, Wyatt Teller. Jed Wills is the worst thing you have going for you, and he would be a starting left tackle on, I would say, 20-plus NFL teams. That's not a bad issue to have. DeJuan Jones ends up starting tackle halfway through the year. I like the DeJuan Jones pick because this is a Bill Callahan, have some fun. We got you a new shiny toy right towards the end of your coaching careers. You get up there in the age column, you get a mountain of a man. He's 6'8". He's a good pass protector. Get after it and let us know in 2024 where we can put him. For this year, just mold him into being an NFL starting type of caliber player, and we'll figure out where to put him in after that. Maybe it's a replacement for Jack Conklin. Maybe it's a Jed Wills replacement, but I like the DeJuan Jones pick. Jerome Ford as a breakout candidate. The interesting thing about Jerome Ford is a lot of talk about him being his RB2. He's also just 1 snap away from being this team's starting running back. So hopefully he is someone who could live up to those expectations. Knock on wood, he never has to. But this is the NFL. We can't be naive about injuries. So that is also a factor in as well. Okay. So with that being said, I think we are ready to start the second segment on today's show. Producer Roley, just let me know when we get the green light. I'll give some shout-outs here. Grant Delpit coming in from Ray Bidding as a breakout candidate. It's a good time for Delpit, too, because he's entering the last year of his contract. He ended the year on such a high note last year compared to how he started it. So I think Delpit with Juan Thornhill will take a lot of pressure off Delpit, and Jim Schwartz just being an overall improvement at defensive coordinator is really going to allow Delpit to live up to those second-round expectations and look like a borderline Pro Bowl starting safety at the top of his game. So those are some breakout candidates. David Njoku, if he did not get hurt last year, he would have finished as a top 5 tight end. I don't have many reservations about that. We ready to get started? Okay, we got the thumbs up from Roley. In about 10 or 12 minutes or so, we'll do another card drawing. And let's see if he's even in the right half of the playing field. Probably not.
Before we start, I want the record, I'm technically closer than you.
No, it doesn't. If you're so far, if we're both so far off.
Dude, I was 4 numbers away. I guess 6, it was 2. You picked king.
Yeah, but the 2's high.
No. You're way farther away than I am. I don't want to get this fake narrative out of here by you.
Okay, let's start the show. The people are waiting.
Yeah.
What's going on, Browns fans? Welcome into another edition of the Cleveland Browns Report. Happy to have you along here for a fun show today. It's not the usual type of episode we have, but I had a beef to pick, and I had a bone to pick, and it's with Mike Florio. So let's not wait any longer here. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of the show. Is Mike Florio a Browns hater? Does he have it out for the Cleveland Browns? For Bernie heads. I might get a little Red Ross here because this was unbelievable. It was childish, honestly. So Florio tweeted out this with a link to an article, and he said, Deshaun Watson has expressed interest in the Browns adding former Texans teammate DeAndre Hopkins. The Browns reportedly won't be pursuing the possibility. Okay, that's fine. I have nothing to disagree with there. But it's once you click onto the article, I read this, and this was just, you can decide. Here it is. It's possible Watson was simply saying what he needed to say publicly and that he hasn't privately pushed for Hopkins to be signed. But if Watson has expressed a preference to the team to make a run at Hopkins, and if the team has politely declined to do so, that would be the first tangible sign of friction between the Browns and the player to who they gave a 5-year, fully guaranteed contract amid 20-plus civil lawsuits and a looming suspension. I'm not going to even say, pardon my French, what the fuck, Florio? Are you serious right now? You are just inventing friction between Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns over a free agent signing. You are just trying to stir the... You brought your own pot. No one asked for it. There was no pot. And now you're stirring it like an evil witch with a cauldron. You are just trying to tear down this team and create fake narratives before the season even starts. Before Hopkins even signs somewhere as we film this on a Thursday afternoon during the live show. Are you kidding? Friction? Deshaun Watson at a charity golf event was asked about Hopkins and played it off and was like, sure, I'd love to have him. Yeah, why wouldn't he say that? They had a great thing going in Houston. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize Watson might want to develop and bring that type of chemistry to Cleveland, and he could hit the fast forward button by reuniting with his old pal DeAndre Hopkins. But no, I am not a believer, a subscriber to the thought that if Cleveland does not get DeAndre Hopkins, Watson's going to turn around with a big mad face and go, how dare you not sign my buddy? This is the first sign of friction. Come on, Florio. You're a bright dude. You're better than this. Florio, Myself and you, the viewer, have no idea, zilch, no idea how Watson will feel if the Browns do not get DeAndre Hopkins. How do I know that? Because we're not Deshaun Watson. How can we stand here and say Watson's going to be furious? No, we don't know that. Only Deshaun Watson knows that. So let's not invent feelings for Watson because we're bored in June. Granted, I myself included, don't have a lot to talk about. So let's just play soapbox opera and let's create drama for the heck of it because we have nothing else and no other time on our hands here. And also, I'm sure Deshaun Watson will be okay if they don't sign DeAndre Hopkins. Why? Because he's got a pretty good wide receiver room. He's got Amari Cooper, a reigning 1,100-yard receiver with 9 touchdowns. Donovan Peoples-Jones, who quietly put up 839 yards. And Elijah Moore, who looks to have a breakout season now that he's got an actual quarterback under center. So I am sure Watson will look at the wide receiver room and go, oh well, I still have Pro Bowl talent next to me in Amari Cooper and rising stars in Donovan Peoples-Jones and Elijah Moore. In fact, I am such a big believer in this wide receiver room, I think they're going to have 2 1,000-yard receivers. What do you guys think? Is this room good enough to have 2,000-yard receivers? I could easily see Amari Cooper putting up 1,000 yards and Elijah Moore or Donovan Peoples-Jones putting up 1,000 yards as Kevin Stefanski plans to air this thing out. Give me a yes or no. More from Florio's hit piece on the Cleveland Browns here because he clearly had no plans that day. I don't know if his tea time got rained out. I don't know if his Netflix subscription got canceled because he was sharing passwords. I don't know. But let's look what else he said here. Watson, now entering year 2 of the deal because he wasn't required to miss all of last season, needs to begin to give the Browns a major return on their massive investment. If he thinks Hopkins would help accomplish that, and if the Browns aren't interested in giving it a whirl, that could indeed become a stickling point if/when things don't go as planned for the Browns in 2023. Let's just say the quiet part out loud, Florio. You're not doing the if/when because you think it's an if. Here's a fun little life fact. If anyone ever does an if/when, they most likely believe it's a when, not an if. So clearly, and hey, Florio's got his right to inject his own opinions, right? It's pro football talk, and he removed the comment section, so he doesn't want other people's opinions. But if you're not a believer in the Browns, okay. Like, I can't twist your arm. They didn't win a lot of football games last year. They lost more than they won. Deshaun Watson wasn't spectacular. He was not good. He was not great. But Florio was clearly just bored and a Browns hater. He was all over the Deshaun Watson story, if you will, last offseason. And he is putting in his own 2 cents. But, Florio, you can put your 2 cents in without creating fake ideas and rumors and stories of friction being brewed between Cleveland, the front office, and Deshaun Watson if they don't get DeAndre Hopkins. Would you do that for other quarterbacks if that team did not sign their wide receiver from a previous team? I doubt it. I really doubt you have said that there could be friction being brewed if the Indianapolis Colts with Matt Ryan did not sign Julio Jones. Would you say that was friction being brewed there? Probably not. So with that being said, if you are ready for the Browns season, because I love talking Cleveland Browns football, then make sure to subscribe because when the watch parties get underway and people like Florio are proven wrong about this team, I will be here to remind them. And if you want to be included in that, hit that sub button. Now, moving on here a little bit, let's just talk about this team as a whole and try to put Florio's ugly face behind us right now. Watson, he's got great wide receivers. So whether they get Hopkins or not, I'm not concerned about this wide receiver room. Hopkins, as I said, would be a luxury, but this wide receiver room is honestly so good, it could be 2 NFL wide receiving units, right? Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore, Marquise Goodwin, Cedric Tillman, David Bell. Like, not all those guys have proven that they can play at a high level, but you're already kind of locked in all your wide receivers. There's no training camp. Like, the battle for the 7th wide receiver spot is going to be a street fight. And for the 7th wide receiver spot, who likely won't even see the field, if we're being honest. But Marquise Goodwin was labeled as a surprise standout this offseason by Jake Trotter over at ESPN Cleveland. So while we shift gears, let's talk about Marquise Goodwin and this wide receiver room. He signed a 1-year, $1.7 million contract, and Jake Trotter has been very optimistic about him so far, saying the Browns made a couple of noteworthy moves to upgrade their receiving core this offseason, trading for Elijah Moore and drafting Cedric Tillman in the 3rd round. Yet another under-the-radar addition, the 32-year-old Goodwin dominated Cleveland's minicamp, flashing the downfield wheels that could make him an intriguing weapon for quarterback Deshaun Watson. When asked about Goodwin's speed, Watson said it opens up other guys underneath, the run game, and also the intermediate and short game. Goodwin won't be a primary option, but he could be an impactful one. Marquise Goodwin is going to help win this team single-handedly 1 to 2 games. He's got that big play burst where he can just have 2 grabs for 110 yards and take over the game. He'll also have 6 to 7 games where he doesn't do a whole lot. Now, Watson pointed out and made a good point about just because Goodwin's not getting the football, when Goodwin steps on the field, the secondary has to respect him. They have to give him his space. Because they want to press him up man-to-man, they're going to get burned. And so when you give him his space, that allows the ground game to know the safety's an extra yard back. So I get an extra yard to juke him out or to get some separation. So even if Goodwin is not making contributions with his hands, his presence alone is going to help this offense. That's why the 32-year-old is still in the NFL. When you look at his last 4 stats, no one would think someone who's 32 and coming off 387 yards would be getting $400,000 guaranteed. But what Goodwin does for the rest of the wide receivers in the ground game, like Watson pointed out, is so valuable that teams look at this and go, sure, we know we're not getting 17-game high production from Marquise Goodwin. But those big games we do get, they're worth it. I looked at Marquise Goodwin's 8 best games, in my opinion, of his NFL career. A lot of them came when he was with the San Francisco 49ers 5 or so years ago. But last year with the Seahawks, you can see he had a 5-grab, 95-yard game, 1 touchdown. He's got a handful of games where he went over 100 yards and not a whole lot of targets or receptions. Like in 2016 with the Bills, 2 grabs, 112 yards. You see what I'm saying? Like he's got that big play potential, kind of like Travis Benjamin a little bit here. Now, there are some highs, but there are some lows, right? And this is what I'm saying about Goodwin is going to have 6 to 7 games where you don't even hear his name because he has 27 career games with 0 yards, which is kind of crazy to think about, right? A 32-year-old has that many games with no yards, and he's still being paid to play in the NFL. That's just how dangerous his track star speed is, and he still has good hands on the other end, which we know that's not the case for all track stars. So who is your sleeper wide receiver? I'm going to go with Cedric Tillman, my own Tennessee Vol. I think Cedric Tillman is going to make some very limited but impactful contributions to this team, right? 6'3", 308 pounds. He could be a true red zone target that the Browns don't really have in their wide receiver room. Like Cooper's good anywhere on the field. That's what makes him so special. But Donovan Peoples-Jones, not so much. David Njoku, yes, but he's got a case of the drops every once in a while. Goodwin, no. Elijah Moore, no. Tillman could be a fade route guy in the second half of the season once he catches on to the NFL speed. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, taking time out of your day to watch me rip Mike Florio apart. And now we get to my favorite part of the show. Pick a card time. We have the wonderful services of producer Nick Roloff today. He has been tasked to even up the scoreboard between myself with 1 point, King of Diamonds forever, and the producers with a big fat 0 on the board. Rolly, are you even going to get it close?
I'm really soul-searching right now.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't been close at all to ever getting one right. I think I started out hot where I was really close a couple times, and then I just haven't even been in the same realm of the universe lately. And I think a lot has to change. I looked inward since our last video, and I think I'm going to go with the Queen of Clubs.
Okay.
And I feel confident about Queen of Clubs.
Queen of Clubs? I'm going to go with the 4 spades.
That's a bad number. It's a bad number.
I think it's been picked 3 times, actually.
It's a bad number.
Okay. One more cut for good measure.
Queen of clubs.
You're going to hate this. 2 of hearts. The 2s.
I'm telling you, every time I'm on, it's a 2.
Next episode, I'm doing a 2.
I think we have to. Yeah.
You pick a 2, I pick a 2.
Okay.
All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We will sign off. We'll catch up with everyone later. Subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed today's show, and I will see everyone on a future Browns report. Sleeper wide receiver. Who do we got here? Did I see someone bold enough to put Anthony Schwartz? Ray, you are a brave man. You're braver than I am. That's for sure. Someone said Jalen Darden. That's a good one. I know that Zach Jackson from The Athletic had Jalen Darden making his 53-man roster over David Bell, which was a bit too rich for me. But let's see. Joshua Miller's in the chat. What's going on, Josh? Goodwin was sneakiest good acquisition this year. Yeah, Marquise Goodwin is what they wanted Jakeem Grant to be last year. And unfortunately, Jakeem Grant popped his Achilles, and that sucked. So hopefully Goodwin's healthy, but yeah, that is a potentially good sneaky addition if we get one of those 2 boom or bust kind of games where he goes off for 100 yards and a score. Now, our next section of the show is a mailbag. So start getting those questions in. We're still looking for our first super chat of the day. So if you want to skip the whole line, guarantee your question gets on screen. Super chat, we'll throw that on screen for everyone to see. If you like the free content we do here, you know the deal, always appreciated, but no pressure whatsoever. But if you would like to ask a free question, #Browns, that is your right in the chat, and you're just at the mercy of producer Rowley picking his favorite question. So get those questions in. I just saw Lil Beam. He is a all-time Cleveland Browns report commenter. We encourage comments here. Can't say the same for everyone else. So keep flooding those comments into the to the chat right now. #Browns or super chat, and we will guarantee a spot on screen. Rolly, we all good? Questions not? The computer not working? I know. I thought I saw some too earlier. Okay. Well, we got some good news. We got some bad news. The software just started working. So if you asked a question earlier, it's not there anymore. So copy and paste, put it back in, #Browns, and we will fix that for you guys. But we got Joshua Miller, cool guy called Zone. A couple more questions away. If you asked a question earlier, unfortunately, for whatever reason, the computer was not cooperating. But now it is cooperating, so get those questions back in the chat, and we will throw those on screen. I'll start giving shout-outs to everyone who asked a question. Lil Beam, Joshua Miller. We got cool guy called Zone, Levi Mayfield. Oh, I like Levi's question. This Browns roster is just pristine, I feel like. Get some other questions going in the chat here. A couple more, and we can get this thing off the ground. Thursday afternoon. 5 questions? Okay. We need some more. We probably need some more. So I'll give some shout-outs like I said. Rolly, dog days of the offseason. I can't wait for football. I know this is just a little off the cuff, but...
JK, good
so
question.
Close.
Just no space in between the hashtag and Browns.
Yes. Just one. It's a sandwich. It's a hashtag sandwich. No cheese. Nothing in between. # Browns together. And then we can start the show off. But I am excited for I usually am not all that excited, actually, for the Hall of Fame game. Because I know football's back. Rah, rah, rah. Of course, I'm with you. But it's not football. It's not football when no one's heard of either starting quarterback. But what's different this year is the Browns have 3 notable quarterbacks. Like Deshaun Watson won't even suit up. We know that. Joshua Dobbs will probably suit up. And then Dorian Thompson-Robinson was one of the more electric college football players. Well, so, we're going to know who's playing quarterback for the Browns. And for the Jets,
Zach Wilson's going to play.
He's going to play.
He's going to play at some point. There's no way he doesn't.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're going to see Zach Wilson is good enough.
Exactly.
And obviously, our Cleveland Browns, we're going to be so locked in anyway.
We got Ty asking questions. Okay. So we got some questions in. We can get this show on the road. If you want to beat the buzzer, super chat, and we guarantee a spot on screen. Rolly, whenever I get the thumbs up from you. Green light, we are a go for launch. Welcome into a mailbag edition of the Cleveland Browns Report. I'm answering questions that were asked during our live show, which airs every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern, so hopefully nothing I say gets too dated. But let's start things off with a question from Levi Mayfield, who says, who's your sleeper to make this roster? It's a good question, Levi, and I almost said my answer. Jalen Darden has been a very popular pick because he brings you some special teams abilities that if Jakeem Grant doesn't look like he's back to what the Browns signed him to do a year ago, Jalen Darden might be this year's returner, and they might have a role for him on the roster just as a return man. Another sleeper, I don't actually think this really counts as a sleeper, but I'm just going to float out the name Jordan Kunaszyk. He was an under-the-radar guy who got some snaps last year after all three starting linebackers and all four at one point starting linebackers all were on IR. He looked good in special teams, and he was a good linebacker. He's probably I think he's graduated from sleeper, but Jordan Kunaszyk on the defensive side, that's a good name to know. Keep in your back pocket. If you're at a bar and someone wants to talk deep X's and O's Cleveland Browns football, that's an all-time football name. Jordan Kunaszyk. I do not want to be tackled by Kunaszyk. Centrion, what's going on, dude? Would you agree that Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry are the smartest upper management we had in a while? I mean, just textbook-wise, they're both Ivy League guys, right? You got Harvard and Penn right there. So, yeah, I would be inclined. You can toss in Paul DePodesta as well as sort of the Oz, if you will, the guy behind the curtain pulling a lot of strings. Potentially, not quite sure. I'm not in Berea. But I would say, yes, this is the smartest duo we have had in Cleveland in quite some time. And if you're just going by book smart, probably the smartest duo in the NFL, right? You have a Harvard guy. He does all the work essentially on his own. You could have a Harvard guy and a community college guy. The Harvard guy's going to pull his own weight. You add in Penn, yeah, that gets the job done. BB Browns fan, the wide receiver room is beyond full. So do you think that they would look into trading David Bell? It's an interesting thought. I can't disregard it because when you look at Cleveland's wide receiver room, it is full. Amari Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore, Marquise Goodwin, Cedric Tillman, those five guys are all making the roster no matter what. And imagine if Michael Woods did not pop his Achilles and make it a little bit easier on the front office to try and weed down this wide receiver room. I think David Bell is going to make this roster for a couple of reasons. But if he has a bad camp and Jalen Darden has a very good camp and Jalen Darden looks like a good return man, maybe if a team has some injuries at the wide receiver spot, they would call about David Bell. But I think Cleveland's going to hold on to him because they're planning ahead a little bit. And they know that there's such uncertainty at the wide receiver spot at the very top after 2023. So this future of the room might be Elijah Moore, Cedric Tillman, and David Bell. And they don't want to quit after just one season. When he didn't look bad, he just didn't do a whole lot. But I don't know how much of that is through his own fault. Now, with that being said, do you guys think the Browns have a top 10 wide receiver room in the NFL? It's probably not top 5 just because Donovan Peoples-Jones or Elijah Moore, I think, will take that next step. But I haven't seen it actually play out with my own two eyes. So I think it's somewhere between 6 and 10 right now. Amari Cooper, DPJ, and Elijah Moore. Those are 3 very good wide receivers on one roster. You toss in Goodwin and Tillman. I think it's going to end up looking like a top 10 unit when it's all said and done. Lil Beam, next one up. Do you think Dobbs/Thompson Robinson could get some playing time this season? Maybe in victory formation after the Browns are up by 60? But I sure hope not. If I'm told before the season starts that Joshua Dobbs and Dorian Thompson-Robinson do not take one snap, that's a good thing. I'm gonna go down and say that's probably a good thing. Now, maybe in blowouts, right? But no, I don't think there's a plan to get them some playing time. No, I don't think that's what Cleveland is hoping for this year. Only in garbage time situations are you going to see either of those two guys. I'm assuming the one thing I will add here, Dobbs he's not going anywhere. They gave him $2 million guaranteed. You don't give someone $2 million guaranteed just to cut him a couple months later. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson, he's going to make the 53-man roster, right? Either that or the practice squad. But if he goes to the practice squad, another team would add him. And they're not going to lose their 5th-round pick that quickly. So I guess Cleveland is okay with having 3 quarterbacks on their active 53-man roster. Ty, next one up. Do you think the Browns will sign DeAndre Hopkins? My question now, JK, sorry, bud. I don't. I don't, not saying I wouldn't sign him. I just don't think the Browns are going to end up doing it. I think they like their wide receiver room. They saw a lot of very encouraging things during minicamp. And at the end, I think they're going to stand by the moves they have made already this offseason. If they really wanted DeAndre Hopkins, they would have, A, traded for him. But now that he's a free agent, it costs you less. But if they still wanted DeAndre Hopkins, I think they would have had a visit, right? I don't think they would have left for summer break without seeing Hopkins first. But I'm put me down on I just don't think it's going to end up happening. Prediction, I wouldn't do it. Now, when it comes to Cleveland Browns news and rumors like DeAndre Hopkins, make us your go-to spot. Subscribe for absolutely nothing. And you get 24/7 Browns news and rumors coverage when you do. We've got 20,117 subscribers by now. We're trying to reach 20,500. Let's get there before the Hall of Fame game. And hey, if you're going to the Hall of Fame game, you can rep this awesome Cleveland Browns polo on sale too. Comes in a variety of colors. You can get the helmet, you can get the elf, whatever your heart desires. But use our link to get that sale, to get 30% off. I mean, it's practically for free at that point. Chatsports.com/Browns Polo. I've got that link in the comments and the description for everyone. So do future you a favor right now. And also, you get to get some mail. Who doesn't love getting mail? I love mail. Fun fact about Matthew Peterson. I pump out about 10 to 12 letters every single week just so other people around the world and the country can get the euphoric high of getting mail. There's nothing better than that thing. I keep the U.S. Postal Service in business. That's what I'm saying. JK Production, I don't even want to say this out loud. I'm not going to. You guys watching at home can read it. I know. No. Next question. Joshua Miller. Will Watson lead the league in completion percentage with these crazy good weapons? That's a good question. I believe Deshaun Watson averaged 70-ish% when he led the NFL in passing back in 2020. Completion percentage is such a bizarre number to try and predict. People usually do yards or touchdowns. I hope so, because last year he completed about 56 or 58% of his passes. It was kind of putrid, to be honest. So I don't know if we're going to jump all the way from 56 to 70. Josh Allen made that kind of jump. So will he lead the league? I don't even know who led the league last year. So pencil me in for top 7. Top 7. Cool guy called Zone. I have seen some whack schedule predictions for the Browns, but do you see the Browns falling behind the Steelers? We're talking about the Week 2 game. I think in my initial prediction, I had the Browns losing. I had the Browns losing in Week 2 without knowing who they were playing. I thought the Browns would win Week 1 and they come crashing down to earth. It's unfortunate that it happens to be a primetime game against Pittsburgh, but I feel like the Browns season is going to start one of two ways. 3-0, and the whole country is getting a big middle finger from everyone that wrote off Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Or 1-2, everyone starts laughing at the Browns, and then the offense starts to click. It took a couple of weeks. They're in October. Everyone has settled in nicely. It's a new offense, and then they rattle off 8 straight wins. It's going to go one of those two ways. I refuse to believe it'll start 2-1. So do I see them beating the Steelers or falling behind the Steelers? I think Pittsburgh ends up in last place in the AFC North this year. Rick Ross, why not bring back Deion Jones? Good question, Mr. Ross. Why not bring back Deion Jones? Deion Jones last year was traded from Atlanta, and he stepped into a pretty big role once a lot of linebackers started falling like flies. 44 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. I think the issue with Deion Jones coming back to Cleveland is that when he was traded from ATL, both sides agreed to make this a 1-year contract, to cut up the rest of his contract. So I felt like both sides were saying, we're just doing this to Band-Aid the rest of the season, and neither side envisioned a long-term future at play. But he's still a free agent, and the Browns linebacker room is a big question mark in terms of health and availability, right? When is Walker and Taki going to play? I'm not sure. Jacob Phillips is coming back. They did get some priority-ish UDFA signings, Diabate and Thomas. Jordan Kunashik, I think, is someone to keep an eye on. We will probably get a better sense when training camp starts. And if Walker and Taki start on the PUP list and the Browns are like, we're not going to see him for the first few weeks of the season, maybe then they go out and get a familiar face like Deion Jones. But they will likely wait until August to have a better idea and a better sense of when they're going to get some of those key guys back. But what do you guys think? If you were in Andrew Berry's seat, would you sign Deion Jones? You don't actually have to wait till August now that I think about it, right? Their training camp will open up July 22nd at the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. So they'll see how all their players come back with the trainers. They'll go to the trainers and go, how's his knee, how's his pec, how's his quad, whatever. And they'll have a much better idea of a timetable for a return. And maybe then they decide to call and pick up a free agent. Joshua Miller, will Cade York make 80% or more of his field goals? If he doesn't, it's his last year in Cleveland. Like, kickers just don't get that long of a leash, right? Roberto Aguero, the second-round pick out of Florida State to the Bucks, maybe you can fact-check me, Rolly. He was there, I think, in Tampa Bay for 2 years, and then they moved on from him that quickly. So if it's not 80%, as fun as the Yorker was week 1 against the Carolina Panthers, he's Audi 5000. So will he end up making it? I hope so, because this is Bubba Ventrone's baby, right? This has been his project. 1 year for a second-round pick. That was it. What did he kick that year?
He kicked 71%.
71%.
Field goal, 32 or 34 from extra point.
Okay, so Cade York kicked around like 74, 75%, something like that. So better, but will he make him? I hope so. He's got to figure out how to kick by the lake, though. He was not good at home. Ty, how do you see the Browns' offense changing this year? Do you think Chubb will be seeing less work? So that's a very good question, Ty. I think the Browns' offense is going to have an uptick in passing. You just don't sign a quarterback to a $230 million contract and not have him throw the football 230 million times when he's in Cleveland, right? You are paying him to throw the ball, not to hand it off, and be a team that's top 5 in rushing, which under Kevin Stefanski in terms of carries and attempts, they have been. I don't think Nick Chubb is going to see a major drop-off in workload. Maybe he gets 15 to 20 fewer carries than he did the year prior. I think the difference is if you had Nick Chubb get 70% of carries last year, Kareem Hunt got 15%, and Jerome Ford and other people got the other 5%. Kareem Hunt's percentage is now being merged into Nick Chubb's percentage. And now Chubb is going to get 80% of the carries, and Jerome Ford gets 15%, and someone else gets the other 5%. So I think that's going to be a big change. In terms of personnel, I mean, the Browns love to throw out their heavy bunches, right? Multiple tight ends, multiple backs. They're going to spread it out. They're going to get a lot of 10 personnels out there, 1 running back, or 11 personnel, 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. They want speed on the field. They're not going to do a bunch of I formations, I don't think. Ty, thank you so much for the question. It is the time that producer Rolly has been waiting for to pick a card. So not close.
So, if you've been with us for the past 2 videos, that I've been here, Petey's been here, obviously he's here all the time, but we've seen back-to-back 2s in the last 2 shows, and we kind of vowed on our last episode that we were going to pick another 2 as we came up here, and I hate to do it, but I'm still going to follow that strategy, and okay. I think I'm going the 2 of spades.
I'll ride with you.
Let's do it.
I'll go 2 of diamonds.
2 of spades and 2 of diamonds.
All right, one more cut for good measure.
I will be honest, if one of us gets it, I feel like we have to get 50-50 points.
I think you might freak out.
Oh, no.
Queen of spades.
That's what I picked last time. That's what I picked last time. What a shit show. What a shit show.
Queen of spades, you're off by 1 video. Oh, that's too good. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. Subscribe, like the video, notifications, all those YouTube cliches. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys later. Oh,
this is horse shit. This is horse shit.
Horse manure. Oh, that's too funny. That is hysterical. Okay. Wow. Honestly, this has been the highlight of my week, waiting for this moment to see you go 0 for 3. I mean, it's a 1 in 52 chance, so the odds are not in your favor. But maybe someone with a bigger brain can tell me, if you pick it every single day, at a certain point, like there has to be a certain amount of days that go by where after 300 days, there is a 50% chance you would have picked it by now. Right?
Right,
I'm not quite sure. Kimberly Hurst in the chat. We got Breel Brown. Okay. Should the Browns sign Deion Jones? S for sign. P for pass. Okay. Cool guy called zone. We will do one more card. We get a super chat. That'll be my deal. That we can get one super chat, and I can tell my bosses to keep the lights on for the Browns reports on Thursday. We get a super chat, and we will do one more card pick. And, hey, super chat with a card you want, and that can be your pick if you want.
Yeah.
You can have two. You'll have two.
I don't want to.
You don't want a Mickey Mouse championship?
You mean like if someone super chats?
If someone super chats 10 of clubs, you get 10 of clubs and whatever you
No,
pick,
I'm going to win the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
I'm not going to get a hand-me-down. You're not going to go pardon my take Hank with me. We're just trying to get him to win.
The funny thing is, like, I know you wouldn't win, and it'd be even more sweet knowing that you didn't win despite having two cards picked with you here. 61 people hanging out. Thank you guys so much for carving time out of your Thursday. Always appreciated. Okay, if we don't get a super chat, we will have to sign off. But you guys know that this is the favorite part of my week. I hope the same for Rolly. We have a lot of fun hanging out with you guys here.
I have a lot of fun. Tons of fun here on the Browns Report. I love it.
Tons of fun indeed.
People are sending in card predictions, but it has to be a super chat in order to trigger.
Now we can get one super chat for the day. And if my boss asks how the show go, I could say, we got stacks on stacks on stacks. You know, super chat, baby. Ding Dots, bye, guys. Ding Dots, appreciate you for tuning in. Thank you so much. Breel Brown going with P for pass. Okay. Well, that's going to do it to us. Joshua Miller's listening while at my kid's baseball game. What kind of, Josh, what kind of baseball parent are you? Like, Nick, are you going to be like a Will Ferrell, get on the bag kind of dad?
No.
Will you ever get a...
Oh! Victor Simon keeps us alive and gets us a card.
Puts the team on his back. Yum. Okay, once the computer loads, Victor, we will throw that on screen. Breel Brown with super chat. It's like YouTube's version of tipping, if you will. You can send some of your hard-earned money in, and we'll throw it on screen for everyone to see. Victor, we got Yum.
He says it's his first time, but our software is saying that it isn't. But if it's your first time...
It's definitely first time at the Browns Report.
Then, you know what?
Yeah, throw it on.
Screw it.
It's first time. Here.
It's his first time on the Browns Report. First time.
Victor Simon,
Gets it.
Let's go. Thank you, Victor.
Victor, also comment what your card prediction is.
Victor, give us your card prediction, and you will be in this drawing here.
You'll be here to potentially win here. Come on.
Victor.
We won't draw until Victor puts it in.
Once Victor gives us his card drawing, have you thought about what card you want to go with?
No.
No. You got a soft pretzel in your head right now. You got a pretzel
Victor says the
five
of hearts.
All right, everyone else get your card predictions in.
I am going to go 9 of diamonds.
I like that, honestly. That scares me.
I kind of do too. I kind of do too.
Ace clubs.
Oh, you go with ace.
Going top shelf.
Go top shelf. Get out the top liquor, baby.
Here we go.
9
One more
of
cut
diamonds.
for good measure.
Oh, Josh Miller with a super.
Next. We ready?
Yeah.
We have 5 of hearts.
9 of diamonds.
Ace of spades.
Yes. 9 of diamonds. 9 of diamonds.
Victor was so close. 5 of spades.
Oh,
5 of
my
spades
God.
for Victor. Victor. That is off the crossbar. Brutal. But shout out to Victor for super chatting. We got another one from Joshua Miller. If we keep getting super chats, we can keep going here. 3 wide receivers / tight ends with over 800 yards receiving. Feasible.
I say yes.
Could you talk for a second? Because I want to look up, like... All right, so last year's NFL passing leader was who?
Wasn't it Mahomes?
Patrick Mahomes, I'm assuming? Yeah. Did Patrick Mahomes have 3? He threw for 5,200 yards.
I'm pretty sure he led the league.
Yeah, he led the league. So the Chiefs have 3 guys.
Well, they had Kelsey. Juju had more than 800. Did one more guy have more than 800?
No, so they had Kelsey get 1,300, Juju got 933, and MBS had 687.
All right, so
and that's with an offense that threw 5,200 plus yards. So this is a tall order.
But counterpoint. I feel like it's not that uncommon.
I agree. Like, Kelsey took the lion's share.
Right.
If it's spread out a little bit more, which it probably would be in Cleveland, like I don't think Amari Cooper's going to get 1,300 yards, then you could pursue. I could be, I can get behind Cooper getting 1,000 yards, DPJ or Elijah Moore getting 900, and Njoku getting 810 yards. Like that is it's a big, that's tall ask. It's a big
I'm
order.
curious here, and because I just want to look if the Chargers did it, because they're very spread around offense here.
Yeah. No, they're not healthy enough.
They were very close though.
How close?
Like
Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and
so they only got one
Jalen
player
Guyton?
they only had one player get over 800 yards, but there's Mike Williams with 895.
Okay, what did Keenan get?
Keenan was at 752.
And if he plays 17 games, he gets it.
Yeah, he only played 10 games. Josh Palmer got 769.
Tennessee legend.
And
He's
then
4 yards off.
Austin Eckler had 722.
Oh, yeah.
So they had 4 guys with 700 plus.
Uh-huh.
I'm curious to see if anyone did it now. Now I'm going to look.
We got another one from Joshua Miller. We'll throw this on screen. Best ice cream flavor and or topping. Do you want to do an ice cream draft to wrap up the show?
Let's do it.
Okay, ice cream draft to wrap up the show, unless we get some more super chats.
So are we doing toppings or flavors?
I'll do a combination. You want to do 2 separate drafts?
I think 2 separate.
Okay, 2 separate. You want to start with ice cream?
Yes.
Want the 1-1? You want the next 2 picks?
I want the next 2 picks.
Okay, I'll take the 1-1. It's not my favorite ice cream flavor, by the way, but I know my favorite won't get picked in the 1-1. I'm going to go with chocolate chip cookie dough.
I can't believe that went 1-1.
What are you going to take?
That was my number
Oh,
one.
of course, yeah. How's it not?
I can't believe it got taken.
Well, yeah. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was the first. He was Joe Burrow.
Is that really known as known?
Yes.
That is devastating. Mm-hmm. This is not my personal favorite. I actually despise this ice cream, but I know it's high up there on a lot of people's list. We'll go with mint chocolate chip.
I like mint chocolate chip.
I don't like mint chocolate chip, but I know it's high on everybody's list, so I'll take it for the value there. Mm-hmm. And then how can you go wrong with just simple chocolate?
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that, because my next one, I'm going to go with Neapolitan. I love a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of vanilla, and a little bit of strawberry. I don't like strawberry, but a little bit of it I can do. My next pick, I will go with like a Rocky Road.
Oh,
right?
That's good.
Kind of like a brownie, some cookie chunks, all that stuff in there.
So, and to round out the ice cream flavor, I pandered with mint chocolate chip.
Yeah.
Probably chocolate. My personal favorite, vanilla raspberry swirl, is my personal favorite.
I can't like clown on that too much, because my personal favorite is not that popular.
Well, see, here's my ideal ice cream, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of toppings too.
Yeah.
Is the vanilla raspberry swirl. Then you get chocolate sprinkles,
okay,
hot fudge,
yep,
and some cookie dough, and then you're having the time of your life.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just don't like raspberries. I don't like berries, honestly.
Well, there's no raspberries. It's just
I don't like that.
It's raspberry. I love the flavor. Raspberry is my favorite flavor in the world.
My last pick, and then we can do the toppings.
Yeah.
Banana. I love banana ice cream.
Ugh.
No, I know. I love banana ice cream. That is my favorite ice cream.
Ugh.
We got super chat coming in from Jeremy Stallman.
Jeremy.
What's going on, Jeremy? Let's do we'll throw Jeremy's on screen, and then we'll do toppings really quickly.
Yeah.
You go first.
I'll go first. Chocolate sprinkles, easy.
Okay, I get rainbow sprinkles.
Oof.
I like rainbow sprinkles way more than chocolate
No
sprinkles.
chance.
Oh yeah.
Am I picking now, or are you getting on?
Oreos.
Okay, I'll go hot fudge, and then I'll round out with cookie dough.
Okay, fine. Cookie dough. Give me caramel sauce. Love caramel.
Chocolate sprinkles, hot fudge, and cookie dough clears whatever you got going on over there, Pete.
I mean, I've got rainbow sprinkles. Oreos are great. Everyone loves crushed up Oreos. Crushed up Oreos are awesome. I love caramel.
I love your list. This happens to be mine is better.
Jeremy Stallman with the $2 super chat. Jeremy, thank you so much for super chatting into the show. Always appreciated. I don't remember Jeremy ever super chatting before, so could we give him the first time super chatter? Maybe YouTube's just not working today. Jeremy Stallman, you're the man. Let's go Browns, baby. Okay, that is going to do it for us on today's show. For everyone that tuned in, shout out to you. Thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed today's live show. I had a blast. Producer Rowley, thank you for making it happen last week during the chaos of the NBA draft and this week as well. So shout out to Rowley. Pat yourself on the back. We will sign off. We will catch up with you guys later. Let's go Brownies.